Hi, it's John Colley here, and I thought I would just share with you a little bit of information about how I go about making my Udemy courses 7 years on after I first started making courses on Udemy. I've got lots of courses about how to make courses, but I've just thought a little free tutorial would be helpful to you and help to get you started perhaps with your first course. So let's get cracking with this. If you enjoy and you've got any comments or thoughts, do leave some feedback and definitely hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss any future content going forward. I've also got my notes at the front of me, so you'll have to please bear with me while I check out my notes because there's lots of points I want to share with you in this video, but obviously being a little bit prepared helps me to give you a good structure. I'm going to go through the 4 key steps, which is planning, production, publication, and to a certain extent promotion, and we'll cover the sort of key steps in that as we go through. And we're going to start with planning, and the all this face fuzz, it's all quite itchy. The first thing you need to do when it comes to planning is work out in your own mind what your expertise is. Now, this isn't that you're going to launch into that particular course straight away, but you really want to be sharing information on a subject that you're knowledgeable and smart about and that you can help other people about. And hopefully there's more than one area of expertise, because the next thing you need to do is decide which topic you're actually going to produce a course about. And the best way to do that is to sign up as an instructor on Udemy, dive into the Udemy Insights tool, and I've got a whole course on Udemy Insights, and go and explore the Udemy topics. And the key thing you're looking for is, firstly, to make sure that the topic has got a top course earning level of over $1,000. So the best rated course, the highest earning course, earns more than $1,000 a month. And the second thing is you're looking for courses where the search percentile is above 90%. So you want a course that a lot of people are searching for and that people are making money from. And that's your sort of baseline for your topic selection. And if your topic doesn't meet that, go and find an associated topic that does meet that. There are literally hundreds and hundreds of topics on Udemy, but it pays to do your research before you dive into a topic and find you've made a topic about, I don't know, I said pogo sticking last time I made a video. I don't know if there's any pogo sticking videos on courses on Udemy, but I don't expect they're making a huge amount of money. So you selected your topic. Now you need to go and do your research about the approach you're going to take to your topic. Let me explain what I mean by this. If you make a course simply about the everything you know about Bitcoin, that might be very interesting, but actually you're only going to sell it to a few people. If you make a course about how to make a lot of money on Bitcoin or how to not lose a lot of money on Bitcoin, you're starting to address a problem solution approach. And the value of that is that people will pay to have their problems solved. And that is what you're trying to achieve. There are a couple of ways to research this. One is obviously go and see what other people are doing on Udemy and go and find out not how you can make the same course, but how you can make a better course. Also, a great way of researching this is to go into Amazon, go into the Kindle store, go into the bookstore, see what books have been written about your topic, and then go look inside and have a look at the table of contents. You're not trying to copy them, you're not trying to take their ideas, but see what topics they've addressed and how they've addressed them and what pains and problems they are solving. And that is the key to a good course. So you've identified your topic and you've identified the pain you're going to address. So now you need to structure out the course. And the way to do this is to start with, and you're going to take it at 3 levels. First of all, you're going to do a very high level, section level, point by point of the key areas that you're going to go from the A to B, which is from the start of the pain to the solving of the pain. Once you've got your outline structure, and this is a draft, it may well change, you can then put in the lectures that you need to include in that section to meet the objectives of what you're trying to communicate in that section. And when you put that in place, you can go and put in the bullet points of the content in the lectures that address the points in the lectures that you want to address in order to meet the objective of the lecture. If you need to do any research, that's great. You can do that. If you need to go and prepare any downloadable materials, I often prepare downloadable materials as I go rather than in advance, but you can put together that sort of information, and then you have got an outline. Now, you can do this in a Word document, so you ended up with a bulleted list. You can do it in Udemy. You can create the structure in Udemy very easily. That's a really good tool for helping you to do that. I also use Scrivener, where I create an awful lot of hierarchical content in Scrivener and move it across to Udemy when I'm ready to start creating the content. But however you want to do it, get yourself organized and get it on paper. Use those little post-it notes if you have to, and stick them all over the wall. Whatever it takes for you and whatever works for you is great. But make sure you're organized before you start, and make sure you have a clear idea of what each section and lecture and the content of the lecture is going to be before you start. Now, be prepared for it to evolve. You may think of something you had missed out, or there's an additional lecture you want to put in because you want to help students. That's great. But make sure you have a game plan to work to before you start. Do not just dive in. You will get nowhere and waste a lot of time. At this point, you don't make a video, or rather you do make one video, but you don't try and make it necessarily for your course. Aim to create your first video, but you create a test video. And it can be a lecture from your course. That's probably a sensible way of doing it. But you need to submit a test video, particularly if this is your first course, to Udemy to make sure that the audio and video quality and everything that you're doing meets their standards. And it's not that they're going to be horrible to you. They will help you with your content and with your production values to make sure that you don't end up creating a course which you're going to have to completely redo. And even when I work with instructors who are new to creating online courses, then this is the first thing I tell them to do before I allow them to make any course content whatsoever. They may have got their whole structure ready to go, but the next thing that you must do is to create this test video. So the test video has gone in, Udemy have said it's okay, you can now produce the course. But you do not produce the introduction video, you don't produce the summary video, and you don't produce the promotional video. You start at the top and work section by section as you go down. And as you do a section, try to complete a section at a time. Try to include assignments, downloadable resources, mix up the video quality content, so it may not be talking heads all the time. However you can to make it interesting, but do it a section at a time. And that way, it's the old joke, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. If you try to do the whole course straight away, it can become overwhelming, particularly if you're producing a course which is 4 or 5 or 6 hours long. It's several weeks' work. So break it into bite-sized chunks. Those are the sections. And I find by just working on a section at a time and forgetting about everything else, I know what I need to say in this section. I know what the lectures are. I know what the content of the lectures are. I just focus on that. And I can often do a section in a day or 2 days. And then I feel I've achieved something. I've got that section done. I can move on to the next section. Psychologically, it's a much easier way of creating a course. So let's talk about scripting or not to script. As you can appreciate, although I've got my notes and I've got my my video for this is all planned out, I don't have a script. And I'm used to talking without a script because I've made thousands of videos. At first, it is a little bit difficult. If you do have a script, that's great. But you must make sure you deliver it in an interesting and dynamic way. It's not just simply reading a script because it becomes very boring. I'm sure you know what I mean. So it's entirely up to you. I'd like to have bullet points, and I then talk to the bullet points. I have made videos with scripts because I turn them into sort of pseudo video sales letters. One of the things you can do with scripts, of course, is bring the scripts. If you put it into a keynote or a PowerPoint presentation, black letters or white letters on a green screen, you can then bring that into your video, use the chroma key filter. It will take the green away, just leave you with the letters. And so you can, if you like, have subtitles or letters coming up on your screen, which then very often in social particularly, which often starts videos muted, you can still see what the words are. It's like having closed captions. And for anybody who is not fluent with your language, whatever it happens to be, Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, then they can at least read the words that you're speaking as well. So that can be an advantage of a script, but I seldom tend to do it, because when I'm making 4, 5, 6 hour courses, writing out scripts really slows the production down, and I'd much rather have a far more spontaneous delivery style than just a completely scripted style. Horses for courses, there's no right or wrong on this one. Okay, let's go on to production. And we're now in a position where we can produce our course and we start recording it section by section. Let's talk about the setup that you're going to be using, and a few pointers on there. Now, I have a USB microphone. I have a Blue Yeti, which is about $150, which has served me very well. Absolutely love it. Make sure you get a pop filter in the front of it. I have a USB camera on a tripod, which means I can move it around. It's on a tiny little tripod, but I can move it around my desk very easily, and that gives me a USB camera. In fact, I'm using my iPhone for this, and this has got an even better camera on it than my my camera. I might be making more videos on this. So I can use my iPhone. I've got a Zoom portable audio recorder, which is sitting in front of me, and that's also enabling me to pick up an audio track, which I can mix with this. But however it is, make sure you have a room which has got a certain amount of sound around it, sound baffling around it. I've got quite a lot of furniture in here. I've got a carpet on the floor. I've got big curtains over the windows, which are giving me all this lovely light, but I can draw the curtains if I want to dampen the sound down a little bit. So you need to be in a room where you can record in privacy without outside noises, where the sound levels aren't echoey, where you can get good light. And you can see I've got light coming onto my face directly here, which is fantastic. It's one of the reasons I love this room. It all contributes to the quality of your video. So make sure you get your setup right. You don't have to spend a lot of money on it, but it is important. Obviously, you'll need a computer. I have an iMac, which I love, but you can have a PC, and you'll need some editing software. Now, I'm not an expert on editing software. I use ScreenFlow. The PC equivalent is Camtasia. You can make it in iMovie or whatever else. I don't use Adobe, but I'm sure there are Adobe, I think it's Adobe Final Cut that you can use for producing videos. But whatever you decide to do, you will need some mixing software to put your videos together. And once you've made your first few videos, you'll find it's a very simple process. The editing process shouldn't take very long, particularly if you can do it with either one take like this, or you can do it with just a few mistakes. So think about your setup and how you're going to produce and batch produce your videos so that you focus on producing and you have a very productive session and produce several videos at a time. So we've talked about the lighting, we've talked about the setup, we've talked about the test video, we've talked about section by section. And finally, you've made your course, at least you've made the main body of your course. So now you make the summary of your course once you've got everything else recorded, and then you go back to the top and you make your introduction. Because I will guarantee you, whatever plan you had for the course, it will have changed as you go through and probably become bigger, longer, more sophisticated, and certainly better. So don't make your introduction until you've finished your course. Sounds a bit counterintuitive, but believe you me, it's the best way to do it. Then you can make your promo video. Now, your promo video is really important, and it's worth spending probably half a day, maybe even a day, making it as punchy and as impactful as you like. Definitely go and check the resources on Udemy. I could probably make a video all about promo videos and just how I make the promo videos. But the best thing to do is to go and look at some of the other top-selling courses and get some inspiration from how other instructors create their courses. Their promo videos, and then work from there. The critical factor, we've talked about traffic and conversion. The critical factor is that when students come to your course, this is the first video they're going to see, and it needs to convert them to want to buying the course. Udemy, I say, have got lots of resources explaining the best way to structure these videos, but it's the production values and how engaging you come across as an instructor that will affect whether or not people want to buy your course. And if Udemy send lots of traffic to your course and nobody buys it, it'll drop down the ratings. So this promo video is absolutely critical, and your traffic and conversion combined with your promo video will probably be the three factors that decide how well you're going to sell the course, which means how much dinero comes in. So really important to get your promo video right. So you've done your promo video. The next thing you can think about then is how you're going to describe and write up your course on the platform. Let's talk about search engine optimization. When you go into Udemy Insights, you're looking at topics. Those topics become your main keywords. On Udemy Insights, below on the left-hand side of the screen, they show you the main keywords as a search for that topic. Take a list of those. You'll be using those a lot. Look at the other topics which are associated with the topic you're writing about, their keywords for your topic. Go into each of those topics and look at the keywords associated with those. They're your secondary keywords. You've now got a collection of the major keywords you will need, and they will be the keywords you'll build it around. Now, let me just give you a thought going forward. When your course has been in the market for 6 months or a year, if you go into your course tools, your performance tools, Udemy will show you what search terms are used to find your course. And if you go down those, you'll find some long tail keywords, people saying, how to make an online course. And those long tail keywords are more keywords which you can bring into your keyword pot, as it were, and use those. Now, how are we going to use those? Your main topic keyword has to be the first word in the course title of your course. This is a consistently algorithmic issue that the algorithms assume that the first word or first few words of any H1 tag or title are the most important. So you've got to help them. You've got to make them the most important. So for this, how to make a Udemy course, I would probably put Udemy : how to make a Udemy course, or whatever the topic is. If the topic is business strategy, I would put business strategy and then the description about the business strategy course. You need to have your keywords in your subtitle, and you need to use them frequently but naturally in your description, in your what the students are going to learn about this course and who the course is for. And I would also recommend you use them in your section titles naturally, you use them in your lecture titles naturally, and even go so far as to include the words in your lecture descriptions. So you have these primary keywords and these secondary keywords, and you need to make sure they're used in a coherent way, strategically, through your course title, subtitle, description, and all the other ancillary written areas about your course. This will give you the best chance to be found naturally in Udemy search. And you'll see from the Udemy Insights that anything up to 60 or 70% of course sales or course hits come from organic search in Udemy. So it's a really, really critical area if you want to get your course at least ranking organically in the Udemy search engine and elsewhere for any terms. And all these things apply to Google and Bing and YouTube and everything else. So we've talked about the SEO. You've got your course description set up. You've got your course image done. Course images in Udemy, pretty straightforward. Follow their guidelines. You can't have any written words on the course image. I think you can have logos and things now, but go into Udemy, check the courses. I have a very straightforward, consistent course image. I have a picture of me, boring, but it's easily recognizable. And then I have some sort of graphic up there. But it just means that all my courses look very clean and they look the same. And if somebody gets used to seeing me, they do tend to stand out. So think about how you can make course images that stand out. And then you hit the submit button. And unfortunately, that's where it starts to get interesting, because that is now the point at which we go from production to publication. And we need to talk about what you are doing in order to publish your course. Now, there are two phases to this, really. There's a pre-launch phase, and then there's the launch phase. You could even go into a post-launch phase, but that really becomes the sort of the promotion side of things. And the point about pre-launch, and I've just started to do this, but I do think it's worthwhile doing, is you start to get people aware and interested in your course even before you've made it, and even before you've finished it, and even before you've submitted it. And the way you do this is you basically create content about it and talk about it, even publishing 1 or 2 of the course lectures, on YouTube, in social media, Facebook, different places. And then what you do, and this is the critical bit, you set up a very simple landing page, and it only has to be a landing page where I would embed the video again. And you're basically saying, if you want to be the first to know about this course when it goes public, pre-register here. And you collect the name and address, and you don't bombard them with emails. You don't have an email campaign. You just have a simple thank you page saying, thank you very much, your interest is registered, and you'll be hearing from us soon. Create a pretty link to this landing page. And this is a really critical point, and I'll tell you why in a second. The whole point about the pre-registration then is that you build up a group of people, and it may only be 10, 20 or 30 people who are really keen to learn this topic. And when you launch, you can send them the information about the course, send them a generous promotion code so they get a really good deal for rewarding them for their interest. But you get initial buying momentum on your course. And don't forget to encourage them to leave an appropriate rating and review when they're asked to do so, because that will also help your course to start to get momentum in the marketplace.
At this point in the recording of my iPhone video, the iPhone ran out of memory, so I'm having to re-record the rest of the course again, which is a bit frustrating, hence the slight change in shirt and all the rest of it. I didn't do a quick change in between. What I want to talk to then is the point about the pretty link is that when you have launched your course, then you just go into the pretty link and you substitute the pre-registration page for the actual course link itself. So when people are interested, they click on that link and they end up going straight to the course, and that saves you having to do an awful lot of sorting out. So in terms of the launch, let me quickly run through it. What you have to do is obviously get as much excitement and momentum for your course as possible. And this means announcing it on social, sharing it as widely as possible, asking people to share it for you, maybe trying to get yourself onto some podcasts, put your own podcast episode out, create some content about the course and talk about it, put some of the course lectures up on YouTube, and then put links back to the course. Anything you can do to attract interest. Obviously, if you've got Facebook groups, I have a couple of them, then let the Facebook groups know, encourage them to go across, and make sure you put as many links that Udemy type referral links, so that you can attract attention. Of course, if you want to have a course launch and you want to have a coupon code for a limited number of days for say $9.99, then you can tell everybody that this is the opening course price, and they can jump in and get a great deal in the very short term. What you're trying to do is to get momentum, and what momentum means is that you get 25. If you can get 25 sign-ups in the first 24 hours, you'll get a new and hot label on your course, and Udemy will give it even more promotion, which is a very exciting thing to do. So the more you can build up and get people jumping into your course as soon as you launch it, then the better it's going to actually sell in the days after launch. So that's the main points about launch. I'm not going to go massively into promotion, but the one thing you must keep an eye on is your traffic and conversion. See how much traffic is coming to the course, see how it's converting, and if you need to tweak your promo video, your course description, anything like that, keep those traffic and conversion figures up and running. So I hope you've enjoyed this video talking about really getting a course launched on Udemy. I've got a whole masterclass on this topic, which you can find by just clicking on the link below this video here. Definitely go and do that. If you've enjoyed it, please leave some comments. Tell me what you think. Give me some feedback. If you've got any questions, always happy to get those as well. And obviously, if you are enjoying the content on the channel, please subscribe, because you'll then get notifications as soon as I publish more great content like this. Hope you've enjoyed the video. It's been great being with you. I'm John Colley. I'm the 6 Minute Strategist, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon.